Hazrat Ikram, Honorable Assembly, first of all we give all praise and all thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the favors and bounties Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on us. We send salat and salam on his last and final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. He has given us this body that we have. He has given us all of our senses. And when creating the body and giving us the body that we have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had instilled what we call reflex. And the reflex which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in our body for us is as a means of protecting our body. So for example, there are sometimes you react without thinking because you know that this is the right thing to do. For example, if you're there and you see something coming in front of your eyes and it might enter into your eyes, without even thinking, you're going to close your eyes. You're not going to leave your eyes open for it to enter into your eyes. You might try to hit it away or even try to duck because you know that this thing is dangerous to my eyes. You don't have to sit back or stand and think and wait for a long moment. What should I do? You would know exactly what to do because you sense that this thing is going to damage me. This thing is going to ruin me. For example, if you are standing there and you see a vehicle is coming in your direction to hit you, you will not think what to do. You just jump away because you want to save yourself. So that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has instilled in us as a means of protecting our body. We have what we call a reflex. And not only that, but the reaction of the body in itself. For example, when we are hungry, as soon as we feel hungry, the first reaction is, I need to get something to eat. As soon as you sense hunger in you, you need to get something to eat. As soon as you feel thirsty, your first reaction will be, I need to get something to drink. When you have a fever or you have a headache, your first reaction, as soon as you sense that type of feeling in your body, you know, I need to get some medication. I need to get some help for this. So this is the reaction Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in us. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Innal insana khuliqa haloo'a. Allah says, certainly man has been created to react very quickly. The reaction of an individual, he reacts very quickly. Because this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. He has created us so that we will react very quickly. It is also mentioned that the Mufassirun was explaining this word Haloo. One of the meaning they have given is da'if. That certainly man has been created da'if, which means man has been created weak. But the weakness that man has is because of his reaction. So because we react quickly, it makes us become weak. So for example, you're in a situation, you're in a certain condition, and without thinking, you react. So for example, you hear something, you're going to react to that immediately. You're going to react to that quickly. You see something, you're going to react very quickly. And many a times, because we react so fast, afterwards we realize that this was not the right thing I should have done. Many times that happened. Sometimes we look back and we say, you know what, I shouldn't have said that at that moment. I shouldn't have done that at that moment. But because how we are created to react so quickly, we react and then afterwards we regret. And when now we sit down and we start to regret it, we become weak. We start to feel weak. So Allah says, Innal insana khuliqa haloo'a. That weakness that Allah has created you is because of how quick you react. Another meaning that was given by the Mufassirun, they say, biqillatil ilm. Biqillatil sabr. Which means man has been created in patience, without any sabr. So when he says, Innal insana khuliqa haloo'a, says the word halua means that man has no patience at all. We do not have any patience. And we see that from when a child is born. And all of us, we are babies one day. And whilst you are a baby, and all of us who have little children and have seen them grown, we see that they have no patience. Because sabr and patience is not something that we are created with. No one of us was created with patience. Because Allah says man has been created impatient. Bikillat sabr. When a baby is hungry, an infant is hungry, they wouldn't sit down and say, I'm going to wait until my mother is ready to give me something to eat or something to drink. As soon as that baby becomes hungry, the first thing, he starts to cry. And only when he gets what he wants, then he stops crying. So that is a form of impatience. They cannot wait until their mother ready to give them what they want to give them to eat or to drink. Whenever they feel hungry, they feel that this is the time I have to get something to eat, I have to get something to drink. And they will cry, and they will only stop when they get what they want. And all of us was like that one day. All of us was just like that. We were all impatient. So he says, Innal insana kulika halua, that man has been created impatient. And another word that was used for the word halua is shuhun. Shuhun, which means greedy. So if you look at that word, it says, Innal insana kulika halua, that certainly man has been created greedy. And this greed again is because of our quick reaction. We react so quickly that we think only about our own selves. So anything happen, you're not thinking about this one or that one. All you're considered is your own self. That is all you will be thinking about. And because you're thinking about your own self, you know to yourself, I need to get this, I need to have that. And without this, I will find myself in trouble, and I do not want to be in trouble, so I need to have these things. And that is why we have been created greedy. We see Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one narration. He says, if man was given a mountain of gold, he would wish for a second. And if Allah was to give him 2 mountains of gold, he would wish for a third. Because all of us, we are greedy. No doubts. Because Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he has never spoken a lie. And if he says that you are greedy, and Allah is saying as well, I have created man, shuhun, greedy. We're all greedy. And that greed has been instilled in us. If you look at a child again, many of you have little children at home. A child, he has an entire toy box full with toys. He has so much of toys at home that he doesn't know which one to play with. And sometimes he only hold on one toy and he leave all the rest. Doesn't trouble them. For months and months will pass and he wouldn't touch that. But if another child comes to visit the home and takes a toy that he has never played with for 6-7 months, he will run for that same toy. And he say, no, this is mine, this is my favorite. Give me that one. And he will hold on to that toy. Only when the visitor leaves the home, only then he will push it aside and throw it away. He'll push that back aside. He was only interested in it because he was sensing someone is going to take away what belongs to me. And this is how we were when we were small. All of us was like that. It was only when our parents would have told us, you know what, you need to share. You need to give the individual it for a period of time. Only then sometimes the child will say, all right, I'm going to lend it to him. But naturally, the way how we are created to only think about our own selves. And that is why after Allah says, Innal insana khuliqa halua, the next ayat Allah says, إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. Allah says that whenever evil, whenever affliction touches him, he becomes angry, he becomes upset. Because he was created halua, because he was created to react very quickly, soon as something bad happens to him, soon as he hears some sad news, soon as he hears about some type of sickness, the first reaction is not to have patience. The first reaction is, I'm vexed, I'm upset, I'm angry. When we hear bad news, which one of us smile and laugh and is happy? No one of us. The first reaction is, I am sad. I am upset. Allah says, this is how I've created you. That as soon as you hear or as soon as you see any evil afflicts you, any bad thing comes your way, you're upset, you're angry. You wanted everything to go your way. And that is part of being impatient. وَإِذَا مَسُّ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. And whenever any goodness touches the individual, manua, he's trying to stop it from going to anyone else. He wants it all for himself. If you have a job, you have wealth, you do not want anyone else to have that. You alone must have that. So Allah says, whenever he has good things, all he thinks about is his own self. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us of how we are created. And these qualities, the quality of reacting very quickly, is not going to remain with us only in this life. This quality is also going to go with us in the next life. Especially amongst the mujrim, amongst the guilty ones. Those who are guilty in this life, those who wasted their life, and those who did not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they go into the next life, they're going to do the same kind of reaction. They will react very quickly. So one, they are guilty because they are mujrims. And when you are guilty, when you have committed a crime, and for example, the police haven't caught you as yet. So you know that you have committed a crime. You know that if I were to be caught, I'm going to be locked up. No one of us want that, even though you have committed that crime. So the first thing in your mind is, I need to escape. I need to get away. I need to either book a ticket and go somewhere else, but I cannot get caught, even though you have committed that crime. So similarly, the unbelievers and the guilty ones on that day, they will try to run. They will try to hide and try to escape. Allah says, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. Allah says, on that day, his mother and his father, because he doesn't want them to come and ask him for anything. He's already guilty of his own crimes, and he's thinking, if I were to see them, then more bad deeds are going to be on me because I did not fulfill their rights. So even though I love my mother, even though I love my father, I need to get away from here right now. So he will run away. He will try to escape, but on that day there's nowhere to escape. So even though he will be running and fleeing helter-skelter, there's nowhere to go. But his reaction is, the first reaction is, I need to escape. So you will try to run. And if when you try to run, you cannot run, you're caught. For example, you try to escape and the police caught you. The next step now is that you will start to think. The first thing that you will react to is, I need to get somebody to help me. I need to get someone to help me. I need to see if I know anybody big. Somebody that has high ranks who could pull me out of this situation. Similarly, the guilty ones on that day, they will do the same thing. They will go to the shayateens who they used to worship in this life, and they say, oh shaitan, we listened to you, we obeyed you. We did what you wanted us to do, so you help us today. They will ask for help. But even the shayateen, they cannot even help themselves, much as help someone else. So when they realize that shaitan is going to say, you cannot blame me, I just whispered and you answered my call. So you cannot blame me for that, and I cannot even help myself because I am also in the fire of Jahannam. I need to get myself out before I can get anyone else out. So when he realized the second step was to try to get someone to help, the third step or the third stage is, if I could get something to ransom myself, if I could make a deal, if I could do something to get some help. I need either money to ransom myself or something else, some favors I could put on the table just as a means of getting off. Allah says this is how the unbelievers and the guilty ones, they will react as well. Allah says, يُبَصَّرُونَهُمْ, you will see them on that day. يَوَدَّ الْمُجْرِمُ لَوْ يَفْتَرِي مِنْ عَذَابِ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِبَنِيهِ. That the guilty ones on that day, they would wish if they could ransom their own brother, if they could ransom their brother, if they could ransom their sons, if they could ransom their parents, just to get away from the punishment. So Allah is saying the guilty ones, they will say, oh Allah, take my mother. Even though I love my mother, take my mother, just save me. Just let me go to Jannah. Take them. Throw my mother in the fire of Jahannam. Let her stay as long as you want in the fire of Jahannam. I want to go to Jannah. Your children, you will say the same thing. The guilty ones, they will say, oh Allah, take my children. You could do what you want with them. Punish them as much as you want. But I want to be saved. I want to go to Jannah. Allah said that they will even say, oh Allah, take anyone you want. Take the whole dunya. Take all the human beings. I do not care about anyone. Take every single one, throw them in the fire of Jahannam. Just let I alone go to Jannah. Just save me. That is all I want. Allah said this is the reaction. So this is the reaction, the quick reaction that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us with. That as soon as a situation comes up, we react very quickly. But it does not mean that we need to remain that way. Even though Allah has created us impatient, even though Allah has created us greedy, it does not mean that we need to remain greedy. It does not mean that we need to remain impatient. Because, for example, most of us, actually all of us, when we are born normal. And if you want to better yourself, for example, many of the youths, when they want to get those strong muscles and abs and so forth, you were not born with that. In order to get that, you need to go to the gym a lot. You need to be on certain diets so that you do not put on extra fat. So you do all those things, you train yourself and you do it regularly in order so that you could make your body the way you want it. Even though Allah didn't create your body like that, you want that special thing with your body. You need to train yourself in order to get your body like that. So not because Allah has created us impatient, we say, yes, I was created impatient, I'm going to remain that way. Allah has created us greedy, you say, yes, Allah has created me greedy, I'm going to remain greedy my life. Allah has created us that way, but Allah has given us the solution. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the solutions. He did not just create us greedy and thus abandon us. He did not create us impatient and abandon us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us what we need to do in order to remove that impatience. What we need to do in order to remove that greed. And He says next, إِلَّا الْمُصَلِّينَ, except those who pray salat. If you want to get rid of your impatience that you are created with, Allah tells you the solution to that is praying your salat. That is what will remove that impatience. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ, those who are consistent on their salat. Not those who pray one salat a day, not those who pray one salat a week, one salat a month, or one salat a year, but those who pray salat every single day. If you want to remove that impatience and you want to have sabr in your life, then the first step is praying your salat. Because when you pray your salat, you're building a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only do you build a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but when you're standing in your prayers, you have to react how Allah wants you to react. Normally in life, we react how we feel like to react. As soon as something happens, we react the way how our body or our sense tells us to react. For example, our phone rings. Our reaction is, I need to answer my phone. Somebody tells you, Assalamu alaikum. Your reaction, Wa alaikum assalam. This is our mind. Our mind tells us this is the way I should react. But when you're in salat and your phone rings, you know Allah tells you cannot react the way your mind is telling you to react. So even though your mind is telling you, I need to know who's calling me, because I'm praying salat, I have to push that aside. I have to be the way Allah wants me to be at this moment. Somebody walks in a masjid and say, Assalamu alaikum, you are in your salat, you cannot say Wa alaikum assalam. Because you have to react how Allah wants you to react. And this is what Allah has created and Allah has ordered us with. The salat is something to train ourselves to become patient. So that whenever you hear certain news, whenever you in certain situations in your life, you will not jump to react the way that you're going to become regretful afterwards. You're going to be patient because you learned that from praying your salat. But if you do not pray your salat, you're going to remain impatient. And if you remain impatient, you're going to definitely ruin yourself. So one is being impatient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the remedy for that impatience, which is to pray salat. And as for the greed, Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى زَكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. Allah says, and those whom they are paying their zakat. Those they are giving their zakat. See, we are created greedy. We are not created generous. But if we want to get rid of that greed, then at least pay your zakat. Give charity. The more generous you be, is the more greed you take away from you. So if you want, Allah is giving you solutions. If you want to remove that greed from you, the only way is to give away the same thing that you are hoarding. So your greed is, I want for myself. And when you're able to take that which you want for yourself and give it to someone else, then that is making you train yourself to not be greedy anymore, to make you become generous. So this, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, Allah has created us this way. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has also given us the solution. So if we want to be successful, if you want to get rid of that impatience, if you want to get rid of that greed that we are created with, then we need to follow the different steps which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in the Quran. These are only two. There are a few more steps mentioned in the Quran to remove the greed and the impatience. But for now, we'll suffice with these two. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us success. May Allah protect us from all types of calamity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure us from all types of sickness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to do only that which is good. May Allah make us do those things which are pleasing to Him. And may Allah protect us from the waswasa and the whispers of the shayateen. May Allah protect us from the punishment of the grave, from the punishment of the fire of Jahannam. And may He enter all of us into His Jannah al-Firdaus. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.